Okay, so everyone's been talking about the Fediverse, right? And you want to know if it's really the future of social media.
Yeah, there's actually going to be this digital utopia free from, big tech.
Right. That's exactly what we're diving into today.
Love it.
We've got research papers,
Okay.
developer diaries. We've got critical analyses of, what could go wrong with the Fediverse.
Right.
We're going to help you cut through all the noise and figure out what is really going on.
I'm excited. Let's get into it. It's definitely captivating, this whole idea of going back to a more open web, right? Like the early internet where everyone had their own website and things were just like more free.
Yeah.
Building ActivityPub, that was one of the sources you sent me. It really captures that idealistic vision of like going back to the web's roots.
Absolutely. It's like this shared dream we all have of a return to, when no one company controls all the information.
Right.
But it's not just individual websites. It's like all these interconnected platforms all talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine, like, I'm following you on Mastodon, but I see your pixel-fed photos right in my feed.
That's the dream.
I don't even have to switch apps.
That's the dream, right? And the key is this technology that makes it all work. ActivityPub.
Okay.
It's like, think of it as the postal system for the Fediverse.
Okay.
It's that shared language that lets all these different platforms, or instances as they call them, all talk to each other.
I like that.
Right.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
How does that compare to, like, how things work now? Like Facebook, they share information too, right?
They do, but it's a totally different thing.
Yep.
With Facebook, everything revolves around them, their platform.
Right.
You're stuck in their world.
Trapped.
ActivityPub, on the other hand, smashes those walls down, right? It's like, It's the difference between sending a postcard through the actual mail, which anyone can use,
Okay.
versus like a private courier company that only delivers within their own network. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's Facebook.
So in theory, the Fediverse is this massive web of communities all talking no matter what instance they're on.
Ideally.
And building ActivityPub seems to say this could be as big as email used by billions of people because it's about sharing, not trapping people.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea, right?
It's a powerful vision for sure.
But like all utopian visions, there's always a gap between the dream and reality.
Oh.
That's what we really want to unpack today. Because ActivityPub, it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
Whether it actually makes things decentralized depends entirely on how it's used.
Okay.
And, some of the data we're seeing is giving us pause.
Okay, now you've got me interested. What kind of data are we talking about? And what's making you, hesitate? Tell me more. So the Fediverse might not be the decentralized paradise we're hoping for. What data is making you hesitate?
Well, building ActivityPub makes email sound like this perfect example, right?
Get billions of users because it's so open.
Right, but is it really that simple? This other study, an evidence-based and critical analysis,
Okay.
it looked at users across the Fediverse,
Uh-huh.
and it paints, a more complicated picture.
I'm nervous now. What'd they find?
Okay, so think of the Fediverse like a bunch of islands, right? Each instance is its own island.
Okay, I like that visual.
And there are millions of users spread out, thousands of these islands.
Okay.
But here's the thing, 80% of those users, they're all concentrated on less than 1% of the islands.
Whoa. 80% on just a tiny handful. So even if they can all talk to each other,
Right.
it sounds like we're just making different centers of power, not really decentralizing.
That's the question, isn't it?
Mhm.
And it gets even more interesting when you compare it to the entire social media landscape.
Okay.
Everyone says Meta has this monopoly.
They kind of do.
They do.
Huh.
But even with the Fediverse, their grip is still, it's kind of wild.
Really? Even with all the Fediverse hype, Meta is still that dominant.
An evidence-based study, they used data from SimilarWeb.
Okay, they track website traffic,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. And guess what? Even with the Fediverse in the mix, Meta still has over 50% of all traffic for social networks.
Wow, over half.
And that's not even counting Threads.
Oh, right, Threads. I forgot they use ActivityPub for that.
Exactly.
But how many users does Threads even have compared to, the biggest Fediverse instances?
As of April this year, 150 million.
Seriously.
Dwarfs even the most popular Fediverse ones.
So it's I don't know, it makes you wonder if the Fediverse is actually breaking free from big tech.
Or just creating new constellations in the same old galaxy, right?
Yeah, that is a little disheartening, I gotta say. But hold on, didn't that same study also talk about smaller communities doing well in the Fediverse? Maybe there's some good news there. So we talked about how the Fediverse might not be free from big tech just yet. But what about those smaller communities thriving on their own? Isn't that a win for, like, diversity at least?
Oh, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most exciting things about all this, actually.
Yeah.
These news communities, they can really flourish.
Right.
It's like, imagine this digital bazaar, right?
Okay.
And there's a stall for everything.
Yeah.
You want Final Fantasy screenshots. Arizia.photos, that's your place. You want, I don't know, libertarian debate?
Uh-huh. Sure.
Liberdon.com. The point is there's a haven for every interest, free from the algorithms, free from the noise.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like the internet's finally living up to that promise of, like, connecting everyone no matter how weird their thing is.
Exactly.
But it makes you wonder, with all this freedom,
Right.
how do they deal with moderation? It can't just be a free-for-all, can it?
You hit the nail on the head, moderation. That is the question, right?
Yeah.
For any community online. But it's even trickier in a system like this where it's so decentralized.
Right, because each instance is like its own little country with its own rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine a conversation about, let's say, misinformation.
Okay.
Starts on one instance.
Mhm.
People get going.
Uh-huh.
Next thing you know, it's spread across a dozen others, different rules everywhere.
How do you even keep up with that?
It's nearly impossible to moderate well when the conversation itself is fragmented like that.
That does sound kind of chaotic. Did the researchers have any solutions to this moderation puzzle?
They did. Remember that decentralized moderation
Yeah.
study? They looked at Pleroma, another Fediverse platform.
Okay.
They found something pretty interesting. The bigger instances, the ones with more resources,
Yeah.
they could use machine learning, specifically this thing called the GraphNLI model,
Okay.
to moderate content really well,
Yeah.
even just using their own data.
So the big guys are fine, but what about the little ones? They're stuck with, like, no help.
Not necessarily. And this is the cool part. The study found that if these larger instances, they shared either their data or, even better, their trained model.
Interesting.
Though the smaller instances, it drastically improved their ability to flag bad content.
So it's like AI to the rescue. That's pretty amazing. But what does this all mean for me, for anyone listening who's thinking of trying out the Fediverse?
It means you're joining at a really interesting time.
How-
It's kind of like the Wild West out there.
Oh, okay.
Exciting, lots of potential, but also, some risks.
Yeah, yeah.
No more just scrolling along, letting the algorithm decide what you see.
It's in my hands now.
You have control, but that means you're responsible. Choosing a small instance, that helps decentralization.
Right.
But you're also going to be more involved in setting the tone, what flies, what doesn't. You're curating your own experience.
Wow, it's like the Fediverse is giving the power back to us. But it does make you wonder, are we ready for that? To be so hands-on with how we moderate online spaces? It's a big question, isn't it?
It's a huge question, and that's what I love about this whole thing, this Fediverse.
Yeah.
It's an experiment, always changing, and what we do now shapes what it becomes.
Really well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into the Fediverse. It's clearly more than just a fad. It's a whole different way of thinking about online communities.
It really is.
Thanks for joining us as we explored all its complexities and potential. Until next time.